Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm sharing a story that will help you understand fast English. Many English learners face a common struggle. They can understand English when it's spoken slowly, but when native speakers talk at their natural speed, everything sounds like a blur. Have you ever felt this way? If so, you're not alone. Today, I will take you through the journey of Emma Carter, a young woman from the United States who once struggled with fast English but eventually mastered it. Her experience will give you practical insights into how you, too, can train your ears to catch every word effortlessly. Emma's challenge with fast English. Emma Carter, a 25-year-old marketing professional from New York, always loved languages. She had studied French and Spanish in college and was confident in her English skills. However, despite being a native English speaker, she faced an unusual challenge. She struggled to understand people who spoke really fast. Emma had no problems reading English, writing emails, or even giving presentations at work. But when her colleagues spoke quickly during meetings, or when she watched TV shows like Friends or The Office, she felt lost. Words blended together, and she couldn't pick up on the little phrases that made conversations flow naturally. One day, while sitting in a coffee shop in downtown Manhattan, she overheard a group of tourists speaking rapidly in their native language. It reminded her of her struggle with fast English. She thought, if I can't understand my own language at full speed, how difficult must it be for non-native speakers? That moment sparked her curiosity. She decided to tackle this problem head-on. Step 1. Recognizing the problem. Emma started by analyzing why she struggled with fast English. She realized several things. Connected speech. Native speakers don't pronounce each word separately. Instead, they link words together. For example, what do you want to do sounds like what do you want to do? Reduced. Sounds. Many sounds disappear in fast speech. Instead of saying going to, people say gonna. Instead of want to, they say wanna. Informal expressions. Native speakers use a lot of slang and idioms which aren't always taught in school. Phrases like hit the books, study hard, or hang in there, stay strong, confused her. Lack of active listening practice. She realized that she only focused on words instead of the overall meaning. Once Emma identified these problems, she was ready to fix them. Step 2. Training the ear. Emma understood that improving listening skills required training, just like going to the gym. She followed these strategies. 1. Slow down and break it apart. Instead of jumping straight into fast English, she started listening to slower content first. She used podcasts and audiobooks where the narration was clear. She played each sentence, then repeated it, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation. 2. Watch with subtitles, then without. Emma loved watching Netflix. She started by watching shows with subtitles, paying close attention to how words sounded different from how they were written. After watching an episode with subtitles, she re-watched it without them to see how much she understood. 3. Use the shadowing technique. Emma practiced shadowing, listening to a sentence and immediately repeating it without looking at the text. This helped her get used to the rhythm and speed of natural English. 4. Focus on high-frequency phrases. Instead of learning every new word, she focused on commonly used phrases. She noticed that native speakers often use the same phrases over and over. Learning these helped her predict what people were about to say. Step 3. Practicing with real people. Emma knew that listening practice alone wasn't enough. She needed to expose herself to real conversations. She started talking to her co-workers more, asking them to speak at their normal speed. At first, she still struggled, but she didn't let that discourage her. One day, she had lunch with her colleague, Michael, a fast talker from California. He spoke quickly, blending his words together. Instead of panicking, she focused on the overall meaning rather than individual words. Michael: so, this weekend I went hiking upstate. It was amazing. You gotta check it out sometime. Emma used context clues. She knew upstate referred to areas north of New York City, and gotta meant got to. Instead of freezing, she responded, "Emma, that sounds great. Where exactly did you go?" By asking a follow-up question, she kept the conversation going. Over time, this built her confidence. Step 4. Immersing in fast English. Emma realized that to truly get comfortable with fast English, she needed full immersion. She changed her environment in small but effective ways. She listened to fast-paced podcasts every morning. She set her phone's voice assistant, like Siri, to speak at a higher speed. She joined a public speaking group, where people spoke quickly and naturally. Emma's journey didn't stop with overcoming her initial hurdles. As the days turned into months, she discovered that understanding fast English was not just a skill to be acquired for work or casual conversation. It was a gateway to fully immersing herself in the rich tapestry of American culture and connecting deeply with people from all walks of life. Emma began to notice that the speed of speech varied significantly across regions in the United States. In her daily interactions in New York City, she was exposed to the rapid-fire chatter of urban professionals, where sentences flowed seamlessly into one another. Determined to expand her listening skills even further, she decided to explore other regional accents and speaking styles. During a summer trip to the South, she found herself in bustling Atlanta, where the mellower, drawn-out intonation of local speakers presented a new challenge. While the pace might have been slightly slower, Emma discovered that the unique drawl and use of colloquial expressions required just as much focus as the fast-talking New Yorkers. During her travels, Emma met a variety of people who enriched her understanding of fast English. There was James Thompson, a seasoned radio host from Atlanta, with a knack for weaving stories in a conversational tone that was both warm and brisk. James, noticing Emma's keen interest in communication, invited her to a live broadcast session at his radio station. The experience was electrifying. Surrounded by the hum of live production, Emma listened as callers spoke with quick, unscripted energy. At first, she struggled to catch every nuance, but she began to pick up on the musicality of the language, the rhythmic rise and fall, the unexpected pauses, and the blending of words. One particular call during the session left a lasting impression. A listener, whose name was Danielle Rivera, shared an exciting story about a spontaneous road trip from Miami to New Orleans. Her narration was punctuated with rapid exclamations and local idioms that Emma found both challenging and fascinating. Danielle's animated way of speaking, full of overlapping phrases and energetic slang, pushed Emma to rely on context and inference rather than getting caught up in trying to decipher each word. That moment reinforced a key insight. True understanding was about grasping the overall meaning rather than obsessing over individual sounds. Returning to New York with renewed enthusiasm, Emma immersed herself in every opportunity to listen and learn. She enrolled in an intensive workshop that focused on modern American English. The workshop was a melting pot of diverse speakers, students from California, Texas, and even international cities where English was the lingua franca. Under the guidance of instructors like Professor Linda Anderson, who had a background in linguistics and communication studies, the sessions were filled with practical exercises. One particularly memorable exercise involved speed listening drills, where recordings of fast dialogues were played back at normal speed first, and then at an accelerated rate. Emma learned to mentally chunk phrases together, a technique that allowed her to process words in groups rather than individually. In addition to the formal classroom setting, Emma sought more organic ways to practice her listening skills. She began attending local meetups, organized through community centers and language cafes, where people gathered to discuss books, share personal stories, or debate current events, all in rapid, unscripted conversation. At one such gathering held at a trendy Brooklyn cafe, she met Michael, a tech entrepreneur with an easy, confident way of speaking that mirrored the pulse of Silicon Alley. Michael's stories about startup life, filled with industry jargon and rapid-fire updates on his latest projects, initially overwhelmed Emma. But she soon found that by nodding, asking clarifying questions, and even summarizing what she had heard back to him, she could keep pace and even add her own insights to the conversation. Emma also embraced technology as a tool to refine her skills further. She discovered apps and online platforms that allowed her to adjust the speed of audio playback. With these tools, she practiced by listening to fast-paced news segments, interviews, and podcasts on topics ranging from politics to pop culture. One of her favorite podcasts, hosted by a well-known American journalist, presented interviews with high-profile figures from various industries. The hosts' voices were crisp and direct, yet the speed left little room for error. Through repeated practice with these recordings, Emma honed her ability to swiftly identify key points, filter out less crucial details, and appreciate the nuances of tone and emotion conveyed through rapid speech. A turning point in Emma's journey occurred during a live debate event held in Washington, D.C. The debate featured prominent speakers, including Senator Robert Mitchell and policy analyst Sarah Jenkins, whose words cascaded over the audience in a blend of persuasive rhetoric and quick rebuttals. Emma, sitting in the front row, felt a surge of adrenaline as she followed every argument. She no longer felt lost in the torrent of words. Instead, she was fully engaged, mentally mapping out the key points of each argument and forming her own opinions in real time. The experience underscored that understanding fast English was not solely about linguistic skills, but also about active mental engagement and the willingness to challenge oneself. Over time, Emma's progress was evident not only in her improved listening skills, but also in the confidence she exuded in social settings. Colleagues at work began to notice how effortlessly she contributed to meetings. Her presentations became more dynamic as she interwove real-time references to current events, drawing on her ability to process and understand fast-paced discussions. Even her friends, including Olivia and Danielle, marveled at how much she had transformed. Conversations that once seemed like an impenetrable blur now unfolded clearly and meaningfully before her eyes. Emma's story is a testament to the power of persistence and the value of embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. By breaking down her struggles into manageable steps, seeking diverse practice environments, and leveraging both technology and personal interactions, she not only mastered the art of understanding fast English, but also discovered a richer, more connected experience of communication. Beyond personal growth, Emma became an advocate for language learners everywhere. She started a blog where she detailed her journey, offering practical tips, exercises, and real-life anecdotes. In her blog posts, she shared detailed analyses of common phrases, explained how to identify connected speech, and even provided downloadable audio exercises for fellow learners. Emma's blog quickly gained a loyal following, with readers from all over the United States and beyond writing in to express gratitude for her clear, empathetic guidance. One of her most popular posts was titled, "Breaking the Speed Barrier: My Journey to Understand Fast English." In it, she recounted the early days of confusion and frustration, followed by moments of breakthrough and enlightenment. She detailed the importance of not being afraid to ask for clarification and how embracing mistakes was an essential part of the learning process. Readers appreciated the authenticity of her narrative, the way she candidly shared her struggles alongside her successes. Emma's writing style was engaging and accessible, mixing practical advice with personal stories in a way that resonated deeply with anyone who had ever felt overwhelmed by rapid speech. Emma also hosted live webinars and interactive sessions where participants could join her in listening exercises and real-time discussions. During one such session, she invited Professor Anderson and Michael to share their own experiences and answer questions from the audience. The interactive nature of these webinars fostered a sense of community among language learners who found solace in knowing they were not alone in their challenges. The exchange of ideas was vibrant and supportive, with participants from various states, ranging from the fast-paced corridors of New York City to the laid-back towns of the Midwest, sharing unique perspectives on how they had adapted to different speech patterns. In one particularly memorable webinar, a participant named Jason from Chicago shared how understanding fast English had transformed his ability to network at professional conferences. He explained that once he began to pick up on rapid-fire business jargon, he was able to contribute confidently during panel discussions and even secure a job promotion. Jason's story echoed Emma's own experience, and it served as a powerful reminder that the benefits of mastering fast English extended well beyond casual conversations. As Emma's reputation as an expert in the field grew, she was invited to speak at several national conferences. At one such event in Los Angeles, she delivered a talk on listening in a world that never slows down. Standing on the stage before an audience of educators, students, and professionals, Emma shared insights from her personal journey, emphasizing that the key to understanding fast English lay in a combination of structured practice and real-world exposure. Her speech was met with enthusiastic applause, and many attendees later approached her with expressions of admiration and gratitude. Throughout her journey, Emma never forgot the simple yet powerful idea that sparked her transformation. Understanding fast English was not just about speed, it was about connection. It was about connecting with people, cultures, and ideas in a way that transcended words. Each conversation, whether it was a casual chat with a barista in downtown Manhattan or a heated debate on national television, became an opportunity to engage more deeply with the world. Emma's journey also inspired a broader movement among language educators. Teachers across the United States began to integrate techniques for understanding fast speech into their curricula. Workshops on connected speech, reduction, and shadowing became commonplace in language schools, and many educators cited Emma's methods as a breakthrough in helping students overcome listening challenges. The ripple effect was profound. Students who once felt marginalized by their inability to keep up with native speakers now found themselves empowered, equipped with tools to navigate even the most rapid conversations. Looking back, Emma often reflected on the myriad of experiences that had shaped her understanding of fast English. From her initial struggles in New York to her enlightening encounters in Atlanta and beyond, every moment contributed to her growth. The journey was far from linear. It was filled with moments of frustration, breakthroughs, and even unexpected detours that ultimately enriched her perspective. And while she had achieved remarkable progress, Emma remained a lifelong learner, always seeking out new challenges, new voices, and new ways to connect through language. In a recent interview with a popular American lifestyle magazine, Emma was asked what advice she would give to anyone still struggling with fast English. Her response was heartfelt and candid. Don't be afraid of the speed. Embrace it. Every conversation is an opportunity to learn. It's not about catching every single word. It's about catching the meaning, the emotion, the intention behind them. Her words resonated with countless readers who had once felt isolated by their difficulties. They found comfort in knowing that even someone as accomplished as Emma had faced similar challenges and had emerged stronger for it. Emma's journey continued to evolve, deepening her understanding of fast English as she embarked on new adventures that further honed her listening skills. As time passed, she found that every experience, whether a casual chat, a formal presentation, or an unexpected conversation, offered fresh lessons in deciphering rapid speech. One brisk autumn morning, Emma decided to challenge herself even more. Determined to understand the subtleties of fast English in varied contexts, she signed up for an immersive language workshop that spanned an entire weekend. This intensive retreat, held in a scenic suburb of Boston, brought together a diverse group of language enthusiasts from all over the United States. The workshop was designed not only to improve listening skills, but also to develop overall communication abilities through interactive activities, role-playing scenarios, and even improvisational drama sessions. During one of the sessions, the group participated in a listening labyrinth exercise. Participants were divided into small circles and given recordings of rapid-fire dialogues featuring native speakers discussing topics as varied as current events, sports, and everyday life. The recordings, sourced from interviews on popular radio stations and segments of live TV shows, were intentionally played at speeds slightly faster than normal. Emma sat among eager learners, determined not to let the accelerated pace overwhelm her. Instead of trying to capture every word, she focused on recognizing familiar phrases and common idioms. Gradually, she began to piece together the larger narrative from contextual hints and vocal intonations. After the exercise, the group gathered to discuss their strategies. Emma shared how she had learned to rely on chunking, a technique where she mentally groups words into phrases. She explained that rather than fixating on individual sounds, she listened for patterns, such as the way speakers linked words together, or the distinctive cadence of certain expressions. One participant, Marcus, mentioned that he'd found success by using visual cues, imagining the scenario being described, which helped him predict the flow of the conversation. The exchange of ideas was electric, and Emma realized that there was no single solution to mastering fast English. Each learner could develop a unique blend of techniques that suited their personal learning style. Inspired by the workshop, Emma decided to document her evolving methods in even greater detail. She began to explore the science behind why the brain sometimes struggles with rapid speech. Emma researched how the human ear processes language, discovering that our brains naturally use context and prior knowledge to fill in gaps when words are blurred together. This understanding led her to experiment with deliberate listening drills that mimicked real-life scenarios. For example, she would listen to a recorded conversation, pause it mid-sentence, and then try to predict what came next. These drills forced her to activate her predictive abilities and helped build neural pathways that improved her speed of comprehension. One memorable afternoon, while practicing these drills in her cozy Brooklyn apartment, Emma's neighbor, a retired professor named Harold, stopped by for a chat. Harold, who had dedicated his life to linguistics, was intrigued by Emma's dedication. Over a cup of freshly brewed coffee, he explained the concept of reduced speech, the phenomenon where certain sounds become less distinct or disappear altogether in fast conversation. He illustrated this with simple examples, in phrases like gonna for going to and wanna for want to. The missing sounds were a natural part of fluent speech. Harold encouraged Emma to practice by intentionally speaking in a reduced form, even if it felt awkward at first, so that she could better appreciate the nuances when she heard them from native speakers. Emboldened by Harold's insights, Emma started a new routine every morning. She would record herself speaking both in a deliberately slowed and a naturally fast manner. Then she'd compare the two recordings, noting the differences in pronunciation and rhythm. This self-analysis allowed her to pinpoint the exact moments where her comprehension lagged. By understanding these gaps, she could tailor her practice sessions to focus on specific sounds or word combinations that frequently merged together. As Emma's skills sharpened, she began to encounter even more complex listening situations. One evening, she attended a live poetry reading in a popular cultural center in downtown Chicago. The poet, a charismatic artist named Serena, was known for her rapid, flowing delivery that combined spoken word with elements of jazz music. The performance was exhilarating, a mesmerizing interplay of rhythm, emotion, and rapid speech. Although the words sometimes flew past in a blur, Emma found that the musical quality of Serena's voice provided clues. The pauses between lines, the inflections, and the crescendos of her delivery all worked together to convey meaning, even when the individual words were hard to catch. Emma walked out of the venue with a newfound appreciation for the artistry involved in fast speech. Her experiences in Chicago also led her to explore the role of culture in language. Emma learned that understanding fast English wasn't merely a mechanical process. It was also about appreciating the cultural context behind the words. Different regions in the United States had their own unique rhythms and expressions, influenced by history, tradition, and local identity. For instance, the brisk, clipped style of New Yorkers contrasted sharply with the more laid-back, drawn-out patterns typical of speakers in the southern states. By familiarizing herself with these regional differences through travel, conversation, and even watching local news segments, Emma enriched her understanding of the language's diversity. In addition to these immersive experiences, Emma expanded her online presence. She created a comprehensive video series titled Fast English Unlocked, where she not only recounted her personal journey, but also offered practical tips for mastering rapid speech. In each video, she broke down complex dialogues into manageable segments, highlighted key phrases, and explained the underlying linguistic principles in simple terms. Her videos featured real-life examples, from overheard conversations in bustling urban centers to interviews with professionals who communicated at breakneck speeds. Viewers were encouraged to pause, repeat, and even record themselves to compare and improve their comprehension. The series quickly gained traction, resonating with a wide audience that included students, professionals, and even educators looking for fresh approaches to teaching language skills. One of the standout episodes featured a detailed analysis of a popular American sitcom known for its fast-paced humor and snappy dialogue. Emma explained how the characters' rapid exchanges often relied on cultural references, wordplay, and subtle shifts in tone to convey meaning. By dissecting each scene, she demonstrated how to parse the dialogue into its constituent parts, identifying where words merged, where jokes lay hidden in quick banter, and how context clues provided the necessary background for understanding. Emma's analytical approach not only helped her viewers grasp the intricacies of fast English, but also underscored the idea that language, much like music, had its own unique rhythm and flow that could be appreciated once one learned to listen attentively. Emma's methods began to influence educators across the country. Invitations to national conferences poured in, and she found herself sharing her insights with a wider audience. At one such conference held in San Francisco, she participated in a roundtable discussion alongside experts in linguistics, education, and communication. The dialogue was vibrant and stimulating, with panelists exchanging ideas about how technology, media, and cultural trends were shaping the future of language learning. Emma emphasized that the key to understanding fast English was not about brute memorization, but about developing a dynamic, responsive approach to listening, a method that combined analytical thinking with a deep-seated empathy for the speaker. Her presentation was met with enthusiastic applause, and many educators later approached her to discuss how her techniques could be integrated into their curricula. They were particularly interested in the concept of active listening, a practice that required students not only to hear the words, but to engage with them, asking questions, seeking clarification, and even summarizing what they had heard to ensure comprehension. Emma stressed that this approach was a two-way street. While it empowered learners to decode rapid speech, it also enriched the conversation for everyone involved by fostering clearer, more meaningful exchanges. Back in her hometown of New York City, Emma's everyday interactions continued to reinforce her progress. At her workplace, she volunteered to lead a weekly language lunch, where colleagues would share interesting podcasts, videos, or news clips. These sessions were casual yet structured, with participants discussing the content and highlighting parts that were particularly challenging. Through these gatherings, Emma noticed that many of her colleagues also faced similar difficulties with fast speech, even though they were native speakers. The meetings quickly evolved into collaborative learning experiences where everyone contributed strategies and insights, reinforcing the idea that communication was a shared, evolving skill. One memorable lunch session involved a guest speaker named Victor Ramirez, a bilingual communications specialist known for his rapid, articulate speech in both English and Spanish. Victor demonstrated how subtle differences in pronunciation could change the meaning of a sentence, and he engaged the group in an exercise where they practiced switching between languages at a fast pace. Emma found that this exercise not only improved her ability to understand fast English, but also sharpened her overall linguistic agility. It became clear that the more one practiced, the more natural it became to filter through the speed and extract the essence of the conversation. The impact of Emma's dedication extended well beyond her personal growth. Her blog, video series, and public appearances began to inspire a community of learners who shared their own success stories. Messages of thanks and encouragement flooded in from all corners of the country. One email in particular stood out, a heartfelt note from a young student in rural Ohio who had struggled to keep up with fast English in his school's debate club. He credited Emma's tips and the active listening techniques for not only improving his comprehension, but also boosting his confidence to participate in discussions without hesitation. Emma's story became a living example of the power of persistence and the importance of embracing challenges head-on. She often reflected on the transformative impact that understanding fast English had on her life. No longer did rapid speech feel like an insurmountable barrier. Instead, it became a dynamic force that connected her to diverse cultures, perspectives, and opportunities. Each conversation, whether it was an impromptu exchange on a busy subway or an in-depth discussion at a professional conference, enriched her understanding of the world and deepened her empathy for others. As the seasons changed, Emma began to collaborate with technology developers to create innovative tools designed to help others master fast English. Together, they worked on an app that featured customizable listening exercises, real-time transcription, and even interactive challenges where users could compete in deciphering rapid speech. The app incorporated artificial intelligence to analyze a user's progress and offer personalized feedback, making it easier for learners to identify specific areas of improvement. Emma's involvement in the project was driven by her belief that technology could democratize access to language learning resources and provide tailored support to people from all walks of life. Through these collaborations, Emma discovered that technology and human insight could work hand in hand. The app was designed to simulate real-life listening scenarios, from busy streets to lively social gatherings, allowing users to immerse themselves in a virtual environment that mimicked the unpredictability of natural speech. By integrating her tried-and-true methods, such as shadowing and chunking, into a digital format, Emma hoped to empower thousands of learners across the United States to break free from the constraints of slow-paced learning. One day, while testing the app with a focus group in a tech hub in Silicon Valley, Emma received a powerful reminder of why her work mattered. A participant named Lydia, a young professional from Texas, explained that understanding fast English had given her the confidence to participate more actively in high-stakes meetings and networking events. Lydia described how, for the first time, she felt fully present during a conference call with international clients, able to grasp subtle nuances and respond thoughtfully. Her testimonial underscored the profound impact that mastering fast English could have, not only on professional opportunities, but also on personal growth and cultural integration. As Emma continued to refine the app and her teaching methods, she began to host virtual meetups for users worldwide. These online gatherings became lively forums for discussion, where people shared tips, practiced listening exercises, and celebrated small victories. Emma often initiated sessions by discussing current events, prompting participants to analyze fast-paced news clips together. These discussions not only honed their listening skills, but also fostered a sense of community and mutual support, bridging gaps between diverse backgrounds and experiences. Throughout her ongoing journey, Emma maintained a steadfast belief that language was more than just words. It was the medium through which we connected, expressed emotions, and built relationships. Every new technique she mastered and every breakthrough she experienced reinforced the notion that understanding fast English was a skill that could be cultivated with patience, persistence, and a willingness to embrace the complexities of natural speech. Looking back on her early struggles, Emma marveled at the transformation she had undergone. The very challenges that once left her frustrated had become stepping stones to deeper understanding and richer interactions. Her experiences taught her that true fluency wasn't just about speaking clearly. It was about listening deeply, engaging empathetically, and finding meaning in the rapid cadence of everyday conversation. Emma's story serves as an enduring reminder that the journey to mastering fast English is ongoing, a process of continual learning, adaptation, and growth. For anyone who finds themselves overwhelmed by the speed of modern communication, her message is clear. Every obstacle is an opportunity to learn, every conversation a chance to connect, and every fast-paced dialogue a celebration of the vibrant, ever-changing nature of language. Emma's momentum only grew from there. With her growing influence and the resounding success of her digital app, Emma decided it was time to expand her impact even further. She envisioned a national initiative that would not only help people understand fast English, but also celebrate the dynamic diversity of American accents and cultures. This vision led her to collaborate with educators, linguists, and cultural ambassadors from across the country, creating a project she called United Voices. United Voices was designed as an interactive platform where users could share recordings of regional dialects, from the crisp, clipped sounds of Boston to the melodious, drawn-out tones of the southern states. Emma believed that understanding fast English went hand in hand with appreciating its rich regional variations. Each week, the platform featured a Voice of the Week segment. One week, it might be a spirited debate from a Texas town hall meeting. The next, an impassioned speech by a community leader in Seattle. The goal was clear: to demystify the rapid flow of conversation by letting learners experience firsthand how speed and rhythm could vary, yet still form the fabric of American dialogue. In one particularly memorable episode, Emma featured a spirited discussion from a local diner in Philadelphia. The recording captured a lively exchange among longtime patrons, discussing everything from the latest sports scores to neighborhood politics. The voices overlapped, laughed, and occasionally interrupted each other, a true slice of real-life conversation. Emma provided a detailed analysis afterward, breaking down the unique blend of slang, intonation, and pacing that defined the conversation. She explained how the regional accent softened some consonants while accentuating others, making it a perfect case study for learners striving to keep up with native speech. At the same time, Emma's live workshops began to garner attention beyond her home city. Invitations to speak at educational conferences and community events poured in from every corner of the United States. In San Diego, she led a seminar at a language institute that attracted educators, speech therapists, and even actors who were eager to understand how fast speech could be decoded and taught. In her talks, Emma emphasized that the key wasn't merely about listening faster, but listening smarter. She introduced interactive exercises that encouraged participants to focus on stress patterns, the musicality of language, and even body language cues that accompanied rapid speech. During one notable seminar in Chicago, a renowned linguistics professor named Dr. Anthony Rivera joined Emma on stage. He presented new research on the cognitive processes behind auditory perception. Dr. Rivera explained that the human brain, when exposed to rapid speech, often relies on a predictive mechanism to fill in gaps and assign meaning to incomplete information. Emma and Dr. Rivera then led a series of group activities where attendees practiced these prediction techniques. The room buzzed with excitement as participants discovered that by anticipating the flow of conversation, they could catch nuances that had previously slipped by unnoticed. Meanwhile, Emma's online community continued to flourish. Her blog posts were now accompanied by interactive quizzes, downloadable worksheets, and a growing forum where learners shared their own strategies and success stories. One forum thread titled "From Frantic to Fluent" became particularly popular. Here, users from diverse backgrounds, from a high school teacher in rural Indiana to a tech startup founder in Silicon Valley, shared anecdotes about how mastering fast English had transformed their personal and professional lives. The stories were as varied as they were inspiring. One user described how understanding a fast-paced business meeting had helped him secure a major contract, while another recounted how decoding a rapid dialogue in a foreign film deepened her appreciation for cinematic art. Beyond these digital engagements, Emma's passion for helping others led her to launch a series of community outreach programs. In partnership with local libraries and cultural centers, she organized free listening labs, where people of all ages could come together to practice fast English in a relaxed, supportive environment. These labs were often held in public parks, community centers, or even local coffee shops, where ambient sounds blended with the live, unscripted chatter of participants. One such lab in Detroit featured a panel of local storytellers who recounted historical events in their unique regional accents. As the storytellers spoke rapidly about the city's rich heritage, Emma guided the audience through decoding the narrative, emphasizing how every fast-spoken word carried layers of meaning rooted in the community's identity. In one touching moment at a listening lab in Detroit, a retired schoolteacher named Gloria shared her story of struggling with rapid speech in her younger years. Gloria explained how she had once felt isolated, unable to follow the quick exchanges in the classroom, and how that experience had driven her to support adult literacy programs later in life. Emma's attentive listening and compassionate feedback during that session created an atmosphere of mutual respect and shared vulnerability. Gloria's story reminded everyone present that the journey to understanding fast English was not just a technical challenge. It was a deeply personal experience that resonated with the human need to belong and communicate. As months turned into years, Emma's work began to attract media attention. National publications featured her story, highlighting how a simple struggle with fast speech had blossomed into a nationwide movement for language empowerment. One article in a prominent American magazine described Emma as a trailblazer in the world of linguistic empowerment, noting how her innovative techniques were being adopted by schools, corporations, and community organizations alike. In interviews, Emma often reiterated that the secret to success was perseverance, practice, and a willingness to embrace mistakes as part of the learning process. Amid all the professional accolades, Emma never lost sight of her own personal growth. She continued to challenge herself by engaging with speakers from different backgrounds. During a networking event in Washington, D.C., she met a charismatic diplomat named Daniel Brooks, who often juggled conversations in multiple languages during international meetings. Daniel revealed that even he occasionally found it challenging to catch every nuance in fast-paced negotiations, especially when cultural idioms and technical jargon came into play. Their conversation was a vivid exchange of ideas, strategies, and shared experiences. Emma learned new techniques from Daniel, such as using contextual cues in multilingual settings, which further enriched her own approach to listening. Inspired by these interactions, Emma embarked on a new project, a podcast series titled Speed of Thought. In this series, she invited guests from various professions, journalists, educators, actors, and even professional athletes, to discuss how they navigated fast-paced communication in their respective fields. Each episode was a deep dive into the mechanics of rapid speech, featuring segments where guests would share personal anecdotes, conduct live listening experiments, and offer advice to aspiring language learners. One episode featured a fast-talking radio DJ from Miami, whose seamless blending of music, humor, and rapid dialogue left listeners both entertained and enlightened. Emma's role as host was that of both a facilitator and a learner, as she actively engaged with each guest, dissecting the art and science behind their communication styles. One of the most memorable podcast episodes came during a live recording session in a bustling urban center. The guest was a celebrated actor named Victor James, known for his quick-witted banter on stage and screen. Victor recounted his early struggles with memorizing fast-paced scripts and how he had to learn to feel the language rather than simply recite it. He explained that understanding the rhythm of fast English was akin to appreciating a piece of music. Each syllable, each pause, and every inflection contributed to a larger symphony of meaning. Their conversation, interspersed with live audience questions, was a masterclass in communication, and it left a lasting impact on everyone listening. As the podcast's popularity grew, Emma found herself fielding messages from listeners who had integrated her techniques into their daily lives. A young entrepreneur from Oregon shared how mastering fast English had given him an edge during international trade negotiations. A college student in Florida wrote about how understanding rapid lectures in his classes had boosted his academic performance. Even retired professionals found new purpose, using the techniques to reconnect with old friends and family members whose speech patterns had always been too fast to fully grasp. Each testimonial was a reminder of the transformative power of embracing the speed of language, a power that Emma had helped unlock for so many. Despite her busy schedule and the constant demand for her expertise, Emma never forgot to celebrate the small victories. Every time a participant at one of her listening labs reported a breakthrough moment, or when a viewer of her online series expressed newfound confidence in their listening skills, Emma felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. These moments were proof that her journey, initially born out of personal frustration, had grown into a beacon of hope and empowerment for countless others. In her quieter moments, Emma would reflect on her personal evolution. Sitting by her window in her modest New York apartment, she often replayed the early days of her struggle, those frustrating moments when every word felt like an enigma. Now, each fast-spoken sentence was an opportunity, a challenge to be met with curiosity and determination. Emma realized that her journey had taught her more than just how to understand fast English. It had shown her the importance of adaptability, resilience, and lifelong learning. It was a journey of continuous improvement, where every new conversation added a layer of depth to her understanding of both language and life. Looking to the future, Emma began to explore the possibility of expanding her methods internationally. She reached out to language educators in Europe, Asia, and Africa, curious to see how fast speech was navigated in different linguistic contexts. These international collaborations opened up a new realm of exploration. Emma learned that while the fundamentals of rapid speech were universal, relying on context, rhythm, and shared cultural references, the nuances varied dramatically from one language to another. In one collaborative webinar with language experts from Japan and Brazil, Emma discovered parallels between fast English and fast-paced conversation in other languages. The session sparked discussions on the potential for cross-cultural exchange programs and joint research projects on the neuroscience of language processing. One such project, initiated in collaboration with a leading American university and several international partners, aimed to create an open-source library of rapid speech recordings from around the globe. The library would serve as a resource for both educators and learners, providing authentic examples of fast speech in different accents, dialects, and languages. Emma contributed several of her own recordings to the project, along with detailed annotations explaining the techniques she had developed. The project not only expanded her professional network, but also underscored the interconnected nature of language learning across borders. Even as Emma embraced these international initiatives, she remained deeply committed to her roots. In every project, workshop, and conversation, she continued to highlight the importance of cultural context. She would often say, "Language is more than just words. It's the heart and soul of a community." This philosophy resonated with audiences everywhere, reinforcing the idea that understanding fast English was not merely an academic exercise, but a way to build bridges between diverse people and perspectives. As the years went by, Emma's work became a cornerstone in the field of language education. Her techniques were studied in academic circles, adopted by innovative schools, and even recommended by government programs aimed at integrating immigrants and non-native speakers. What began as a personal challenge had blossomed into a transformative movement, one that celebrated the beauty of fast speech and the endless possibilities it offered for connection and understanding. One crisp winter evening, as snow gently fell over the streets of New York City, Emma was invited to an annual celebration of cultural diversity hosted by a local community center. The event featured performances, storytelling sessions, and lively discussions, all conducted in a myriad of dialects and languages. Emma was asked to share a few words about her journey. Standing before an audience of eager listeners, she spoke passionately about the evolution of her relationship with language. She recounted the early days of frustration, the countless hours of practice, the breakthroughs, and the moments of shared joy when fast speech finally transformed from a barrier into a bridge. Her words, imbued with warmth and sincerity, touched everyone in the room, reminding them that the pursuit of understanding was a lifelong adventure, a journey best taken with courage, curiosity, and an open heart. By the end of the evening, as the crowd dispersed into the sparkling night, Emma felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The journey of understanding fast English had not only redefined her own life, but had also ignited a flame of transformation in the lives of so many others. It was a testament to the idea that with persistence, innovation, and a willingness to embrace challenges, even the most daunting obstacles could be overcome. Emma Carter's ongoing quest to decode the speed of language continues to inspire new generations of learners. Whether through her engaging blog, her transformative podcast, or the lively gatherings at her listening labs, her message remains timeless. Every fast-spoken word carries the potential to connect us, to teach us, and to remind us that the beauty of language lies not in its perfection, but in its dynamic, ever-changing rhythm. Emma's journey, rich with milestones and breakthroughs, took on new dimensions as she began to navigate challenges that even the most skilled listeners encounter. Despite the growing community, digital tools, and international collaborations, there remained moments when fast English still felt like an intricate puzzle waiting to be solved. This was especially true when Emma encountered unexpected hurdles that pushed her beyond the comfort of familiar territory. One crisp morning, Emma received an invitation to participate in a live debate broadcast on national television, a rare opportunity that would test not only her comprehension, but also her ability to think quickly under pressure. The debate was centered on emerging technologies and their impact on society. Emma knew that the conversation would be rapid-fire, filled with experts who specialized in succinct, pointed arguments. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she immersed herself in preparatory sessions, reviewing recordings of previous debates and analyzing the speech patterns of prominent figures in the field. The day of the broadcast arrived, and the studio buzzed with energy. As the debate began, voices overlapped in a lively contest of ideas. Emma, seated among a panel of distinguished speakers, found herself at the heart of a whirlwind of ideas and rapid exchanges. The moderator's questions flowed seamlessly, and responses were delivered in a blur of enthusiasm and conviction. At first, Emma felt the familiar rush of uncertainty. Could she catch every nuance, every argument laid out in that fleeting moment? Yet, drawing on years of experience and the techniques she had honed in countless listening labs and digital sessions, she began to relax. Rather than clinging to every single word, she focused on the context, the logical structure of the arguments, and the tone that revealed each speaker's underlying passion. In one particularly intense moment, as the discussion veered into ethical considerations about artificial intelligence, one of the panelists, a renowned computer scientist with a rapid, rhythmic cadence, presented a complex analogy comparing AI decision-making to a jazz improvisation session. The metaphor, delivered in a rapid sequence of ideas and cultural references, could have easily left an unprepared listener overwhelmed. But Emma, trained to recognize key patterns and context cues, managed to catch the essence of the comparison. Her internal dialogue shifted from a struggle to grasp every word to an appreciation of the overall message. That just as a jazz ensemble relies on spontaneous creativity and collaboration, the future of AI depended on a delicate balance of structure and improvisation. After the broadcast, the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Colleagues praised Emma for her calm and insightful contributions, and many remarked that her ability to filter through the rapid dialogue had enriched the overall discussion. Yet, this public appearance also ignited a renewed sense of purpose in Emma. She realized that mastering fast English was not only a personal achievement, but also a responsibility, a way to empower others in environments where quick thinking and clear understanding were essential. In the weeks that followed, Emma began organizing advanced masterclasses, specifically tailored for professionals who operated in high-pressure communication environments. These sessions were designed for journalists, business executives, and even emergency response teams, anyone who needed to process information quickly and accurately. Emma's approach was holistic. She combined traditional techniques like shadowing and chunking with cognitive exercises, designed to sharpen focus and reduce reaction times. Participants engaged in simulated press conferences, crisis management drills, and even role-played as news anchors, deciphering live feeds. The sessions, though challenging, were met with enthusiasm as attendees shared stories of how their improved listening skills had already begun to transform their professional lives. During one memorable masterclass held in a state-of-the-art conference center in Chicago, Emma introduced a breakthrough exercise she had developed with the help of neuroscientists. The exercise involved listening to rapid dialogues interspersed with intentional pauses, allowing participants a brief moment to predict and mentally prepare for the next segment. This predictive pause technique was based on research showing that the brain's anticipatory mechanisms could be trained to fill in gaps more effectively, making the transition from one idea to the next smoother. As participants practiced, Emma watched with pride as formerly hesitant voices grew more confident and agile, their responses increasingly timely and precise. The success of these masterclasses not only boosted Emma's reputation as a pioneer in the field, but also created ripple effects in communities that had long struggled with the barriers of fast-paced speech. Local organizations in diverse neighborhoods began adapting her techniques for adult education programs, helping immigrants and non-native speakers feel more integrated and confident in everyday interactions. Emma's philosophy, that every challenge in language is an opportunity to connect, resonated deeply with people from all walks of life. At the same time, Emma's relentless curiosity drove her to further explore the underlying cognitive aspects of rapid speech. Late-night research sessions at her small home office in Brooklyn were filled with academic papers, discussions with linguists, and even experimental collaborations with sound engineers. She became fascinated by how the brain processed overlapping sounds, how certain neural circuits were activated by rhythm and intonation, and how prior knowledge of cultural contexts allowed for faster comprehension. These inquiries led her to design a series of short, experimental videos where she demonstrated these principles in action, using animations, sound wave visualizations, and interactive scenarios. The videos, shared widely on social media and educational platforms, not only demystified the science behind fast English, but also empowered viewers with practical tips to enhance their own listening skills. One evening, while reviewing feedback on her latest video, Emma received an email from a high school English teacher in a small town in Ohio. The teacher described how her students, many of whom struggled with understanding lectures and classroom discussions, had benefited immensely from Emma's breakdown of rapid speech techniques. The teacher wrote about a student named Liam who, after weeks of practice, had gone from timidly asking for clarifications to confidently participating in debates and even reciting fast-paced poetry. Reading this, Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment, a tangible reminder that her work was making a difference in lives that extended far beyond her own experiences. The continuous exchange of ideas and success stories fueled Emma's determination to push the boundaries even further. She began hosting an annual Speed and Clarity Symposium, a gathering of educators, technologists, linguists, and language learners who shared a common goal: to explore, refine, and innovate techniques for mastering fast English. The symposium became a melting pot of ideas, where attendees participated in dynamic panels, live demonstrations, and collaborative workshops. The energy was infectious, and every session reinforced the message that while the rapid pace of modern communication could be daunting, it also held the promise of endless opportunities for growth and connection. At one such symposium in Los Angeles, Emma was invited to lead a panel discussion on the future of language learning. The panel featured experts from diverse fields, including a neuroscientist who explained how brain plasticity could be harnessed through targeted auditory exercises, a veteran broadcast journalist who shared anecdotes of how rapid-fire reporting had evolved over the decades, and an award-winning actor who discussed the art of delivering lines in fast-paced scripts without losing emotional depth. As the discussion unfolded, Emma found herself synthesizing these varied perspectives into a coherent narrative, one that celebrated the interplay between technology, human cognition, and the vibrant diversity of spoken English. In the midst of these professional engagements, Emma also found moments of personal introspection. Late at night, she would often sit by the window of her Brooklyn apartment, watching the city lights and reflecting on how far she had come. The journey from struggling with fast English to becoming a mentor and advocate was marked by countless moments of doubt, breakthrough, and ultimately, triumph. Each memory, whether it was a challenging live debate or a quiet moment of revelation while listening to a friend's story, was a thread in the rich tapestry of her experience. Emma's story, with its twists and turns, was far from reaching its conclusion. It continued to evolve, shaped by every conversation, every challenge, and every new technique she discovered. Her work had become a living testament to the idea that understanding fast English was not just about the mechanics of speech. It was about unlocking the power of human connection, embracing diversity, and celebrating the dynamic, ever-changing nature of communication. And so, Emma Carter's journey pressed onward. With each new day, she embraced the rapid flow of language with renewed vigor, inspiring others to find their own voice in the symphony of fast speech. Here's a comprehensive guide with tips and tricks to help you master understanding fast English. These strategies, drawn from research and real-life experience, will help you train your ears and sharpen your comprehension skills. Each tip is explained in full detail, along with examples and practical exercises you can try. 1. Start with slowed-down speech. Why it works. When you begin by listening to clear, deliberately slowed-down English, your brain has the time to map sounds to words. This builds a solid foundation for more rapid speech later on. How to practice. Audio tools. Use apps or software, like many podcast players, that let you slow down audio recordings without distorting the speaker's voice. Repeat and replay. Listen to a short segment, replay it several times, and then try to repeat it yourself. Transcription practice. Write down what you hear. Over time, compare your transcription with the actual script to spot common patterns and sounds that merge. 2. Embrace subtitles, then remove them. Why it works. Subtitles help connect written language to spoken language. They allow you to see the structure and pacing of phrases while hearing them. How to practice. Initial viewing. Watch your favorite shows or news segments with subtitles enabled. Focus on how the words are pronounced compared to their written form. Gradual removal. After a few viewings, turn the subtitles off. Challenge yourself to recall the dialogue and rely on context. Back and forth. Alternate between watching with and without subtitles to monitor your progress. 3. Practice shadowing. Why it works. Shadowing involves listening to a sentence and repeating it immediately. This technique helps you mimic natural intonation, rhythm, and speed. How to practice. Short clips. Choose a 10 to 30-second clip from an interview or podcast. Repeat in real time. Listen carefully, and then immediately repeat what you heard without pausing the audio. Record yourself. Compare your recording with the original to notice differences in pace, stress, and clarity. 4. Learn to chunk words together. Why it works. Native speakers often blend words together in a process known as connected speech. Recognizing these chunks can help you understand groups of words at once rather than focusing on individual words. How to practice. Identify common phrases. Pay attention to frequently used phrases like gonna, going to, and wanna, want to. Practice grouping. Instead of saying, "What do you want to do?" try to listen for and say it as, "What do you want to do?" Listening drills. Listen to natural conversations and practice breaking them into chunks. Pause after each chunk and repeat what you heard. 5. Active listening and context clues. Why it works. Understanding fast speech is less about catching every single word and more about grasping the overall meaning. Your brain can fill in gaps when you focus on context and tone. How to practice. Focus on the message. Instead of stressing about every word, try to capture the speaker's intent, emotion, and overall message. Predict the next segment. After hearing a few words, pause and think about what might logically come next. This predictive ability improves with practice. Note-taking. Jot down key words or phrases while listening. Later, use these notes to reconstruct the conversation or dialogue. 6. Vary your listening sources. Why it works. Different speakers and settings expose you to various accents, speeds, and idiomatic expressions. This diversity strengthens your overall comprehension skills. How to practice. Podcasts and radio. Listen to fast-paced radio shows, news segments, or podcasts that feature conversational English, movies and TV shows. Watch series known for rapid dialogue, like sitcoms or debate shows, to get accustomed to real-life speed. Live conversations. Engage in conversations with native speakers or join language cafes and meetups where the dialogue is unscripted and spontaneous. 7. Utilize technology and interactive tools. Why it works. Technology offers personalized tools that can adjust audio speed, provide real-time transcription, and even quiz you on what you just heard. How to practice. Speed adjustment. Features. Use video players and apps that allow you to gradually increase the playback speed as your comprehension improves. Interactive apps. Try language learning apps that focus on listening and comprehension skills. Many of these apps offer exercises like fill in the blanks or choose the correct phrase based on fast audio clips. Speech analysis. Software. Some programs visually display the waveform of the speech, helping you correlate sound patterns with words. 8. Learn about reduced speech and slang. Why it works. Native speakers often reduce or slur words, and many colloquial expressions are not taught in textbooks. Familiarity with these can significantly enhance your understanding. How to practice. Study common reductions. Learn how want to becomes wanna and going to turns into gonna. Listen for these patterns in everyday conversations. Watch authentic content. Focus on authentic content like reality TV, vlogs, or unscripted interviews where informal speech is common. Cultural context. Read about the cultural background of idioms and slang. Understanding why certain phrases are used in specific situations can help you predict their occurrence in conversation. 9. Engage in regular and diverse listening exercises. Why it works. Regular practice is key to reinforcing what you've learned and improving your ability to catch rapid speech over time. How to practice. Daily listening routines. Dedicate time each day to listen to fast English in various contexts. Rotate between different types of content to keep your practice dynamic. Group exercises. Participate in language meetups or online discussion groups where you practice real-time comprehension. Simulated environments. Use recorded dialogues or simulated live debates where the audio speed is set slightly above your comfort zone. Gradually increase the speed as you become more confident. 10. Adopt a patient and positive mindset. Why it works. Language learning, especially mastering fast speech, is a gradual process that requires persistence and a willingness to make mistakes. A positive mindset can reduce anxiety and improve focus. How to practice. Set realistic goals. Celebrate small milestones, such as understanding an entire paragraph without pausing or accurately predicting a conversation's direction. Reflect on progress. Keep a journal of your learning experiences, noting improvements and areas that need more work. Mindfulness techniques. Practice mindfulness or deep breathing exercises before listening sessions to reduce stress and improve concentration. 11th. Deep dive into intonation and stress patterns. Why it works. Fast English often relies on the melody of speech. Learning the rhythm and intonation patterns of native speakers can help you predict which words are emphasized or even dropped. How to practice. Listen for stress. Focus on how speakers naturally stress certain syllables or words. Notice how important information is often given a stronger pitch or volume. Imitate the melody. Practice by mimicking the pitch and cadence of short phrases. Record yourself and compare with the original to adjust your rhythm. Use musical techniques. Consider using rhythmic exercises. Clap or tap along to the beat of a sentence to internalize its cadence. Music, with its clear beat and emphasis, can serve as a helpful model. 12. Explore minimal pairs and phonetic drills. Why it works. Minimal pairs, words that differ by only one sound, such as ship versus sheep. Train your ear to catch subtle differences, which can be crucial when speech is rapid. How to practice. Phonetic exercises. Use language apps or online resources that feature minimal pair drills. Repeat and compare. Say each pair aloud slowly first, then gradually increase the speed until you can distinguish them in fast speech. Record and analyze. Record your own voice and compare your pronunciation with native speakers. This helps fine-tune your auditory discrimination skills. 13. Incorporate dictation and summarization. Why it works. Dictation forces you to focus closely on what is being said, while summarizing helps you capture the essence of rapid speech without needing every word. How to practice. Short dictation sessions. Listen to a short audio clip, 30 seconds or less, and write down as much as you can. Then compare with a transcript to identify missed words or phrases. Summarize conversations. After listening to longer recordings, pause and summarize what you heard in your own words. This reinforces overall comprehension rather than focusing on individual sounds. Peer feedback. Share your dictations or summaries with a language partner or tutor who can offer suggestions for improvement. 14. Leverage multisensory learning. Why it works. Combining auditory, visual, and kinesthetic cues can enhance retention and make fast speech more comprehensible. How to practice. Visual aids. Watch videos that include diagrams, animations, or on-screen text synchronized with the spoken word. Physical movement. Pair physical activities, like pacing or hand gestures, with listening practice. Movement can help reinforce memory and timing. Interactive software. Explore apps that integrate visual sound wave displays or interactive transcripts that highlight words as they're spoken. 15. Develop a contextual mindset through thematic listening. Why it works. When you know the subject matter in advance, your brain can predict key vocabulary and expressions, making it easier to follow rapid conversation. How to practice. Themed content. Choose a theme, e.g., technology, sports, or travel, and listen to related podcasts, interviews, or news reports. Pre-study vocabulary. Before diving into themed content, study common terminology and idioms related to that topic. Discussion groups. Join forums or discussion groups focused on that theme to see how others use the language in context. This prepares your mind to recognize and anticipate familiar patterns when listening. 16. Use advanced technology and AI-based tools. Why it works. Modern technology offers sophisticated solutions that adapt to your skill level and provide real-time feedback. How to practice. Adaptive learning platforms. Use apps that adjust the audio playback speed based on your comprehension level, gradually increasing the challenge as you improve. AI transcription tools. Some tools can generate live captions while you listen, helping you see how speech is broken down into words and phrases. Virtual reality, VR, environments. Explore VR language labs that simulate real-world fast-paced conversations in immersive settings, offering a safe space to practice and learn. 17. Engage in peer-led discussion and teaching. Why it works. Explaining concepts to others deepens your own understanding. Peer discussions provide different perspectives on how to decode rapid speech. How to practice. Peer teaching. Pair up with a language partner and alternate between explaining techniques and practicing together. Study groups. Form or join a study group where each member shares a new strategy or a difficult audio segment. Feedback sessions. Regularly review each other's recordings, discuss misheard words, and offer constructive criticism to fine-tune listening skills. 18. Mindfulness and focus training. Why it works. Rapid speech can be overwhelming if your mind isn't fully present. Mindfulness exercises enhance concentration and reduce anxiety, allowing you to focus better on listening tasks. How to practice. Breathing exercises. Begin your listening sessions with a short breathing or meditation exercise to clear your mind. Mindfulness apps. Use mindfulness apps to train your focus, then transition to listening activities immediately afterward. Progressive relaxation. Practice progressive muscle relaxation techniques to help reduce overall tension and improve concentration during fast-paced conversations. 19th. Set specific, measurable goals. Why it works. Setting clear objectives keeps you motivated and allows you to track your progress over time. How to practice. Short-term goals. For example, aim to understand 90% of a 1-minute news clip without subtitles.